Hey guys, my name's Rachel and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I've read in the month of March and the books that I plan on reading in the month of April. So this month I read a total of 6 books, which is really good considering that I was in a reading slump for a really long time. For the past few months I've been in a massive reading slump. So mainly all these books are YA contemporary books because they were just really easy for me to get into and I felt in the mood for a contemporary book. So here we go. The first book that I picked up was Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. This book is centered around a girl named Fanny Price, and as a young girl she is shipped off to her uncle's home to be brought up, and so the home is called Mansfield Park. That is where they live, and it is kind of a coming of age story, I would say, about Fanny and how she learns to navigate her life through this wonderful experience, but it's such a vast difference between what she would have become if she grew up in her original home and what she's become now growing up in a circumstance that is quite different. Her uncle is quite wealthy and the people around her, around her and him and stuff like that, give her really good opportunities which she wouldn't have had otherwise. It not only is centered around Fanny, but it is also has the storylines of everyone that is included in Mansfield Park, so her uncle and her auntie and her cousins and even friends and stuff like that. It was a very different read. I read Jane Austen quite a bit. She's my favourite author, so it's very different from all her other books. It is more based on society instead of just one character or two characters. It's more how people interact with each other back then and in that day in middle class society, and what goes on behind closed doors. So it was very interesting. It is it was a book very based on writing and not character development. Well, no, that's a lie, because it had a lot of character development, but just the writing style was what you're really looking for instead of just a plot line. It was absolutely gorgeous. Jane Austen can't do any wrong, so this was very good. After that I picked up By Your Side by Casey West, and this book is about a girl named Autumn, and she kind of is struggling with her life at the moment. She really loves her friends and there's a guy that she likes who might like her back, but she deals with panic attacks, and one night she finds herself getting locked into the library and she ends up locked in a library for quite a few days, and at first she feels really scared and alone, but what she doesn't know is that Dax, the bad boy guy at school who is very mysterious, is locked in the library with her. And so this book is centered around these two characters, and Casey West is one of my favourite contemporary authors. She's incredible at what she does, and though this is probably not my favourite of hers, it is definitely up there because the character development and just the characters in general in this book are so wonderful. Autumn is a character that I can really relate with, and the way that she deals with panic attacks is so real and so well written that it's really believable as she does go through this journey with Dax and herself. And Dax is a character that Casey has never really written about before. All her guy characters are all kind of pretty similar, and Dax is definitely different. He's got so many layers to his personality that it's incredible, and as you're reading it you just want to know more and more about him, because not only does Autumn think he's mysterious, but you also think he's mysterious, and as the story unfolds, so does Dax's personality, and it's really awesome to see such a different, diverse kind of cast as you would in a story of Casey West. And if you're looking for a fun light read that won't take you long to finish, definitely Casey West's books are up there, and this is her newest one, so make sure to give it a go. After that I picked up Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. This book I picked up because I wanted to see the movie, so I obviously had to read the book before I saw the movie, and so I picked it up at work and just dived right into it. This book is about a girl who kind of has everything in life. She's popular at school, she has amazing friends, she just loves her life, and one night she's in a car accident, and the next thing she knows she's in this accident, and then next she's waking up in her room on the same day that the accident happened in the morning. So it's kind of like Groundhog Day in a bit, that it just keeps repeating itself and repeating itself the same day, and she has to figure out what she has to do different to fix what happened, you know, to fix the car accident and make it not happen at all. So she has to kind of go about her day finding the small things that she can change that may help. This was a really interesting read, but I would have to say that the movie was better, which is quite surprising coming from me. The book was really good, but I did feel like it was missing a few elements that the movie did pick up on. So the movie, and also my biggest issue with this book was that it was a tiny bit boring in the middle of it. It was a bit too repetitive, and the movie really helped that. Obviously they didn't have enough time as they would have to, like, you know, put everything that the book had, so they had to speed it up anyway. And I think also what Lauren was trying to get across in this story is that, you know, you have to live life like you only have one day to live, and what you can do in what you do in your past can affect your future. So though the book really tried to get that point across, I don't think it succeeded as much as the movie did. So I definitely recommend seeing the movie, but also pick up the book. It doesn't take long to, it's quite easy to get into, it doesn't take long to finish, and there are also some information that's really helpful to know as you're seeing the movie. After that, I picked up 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. This book, kind of the same as Before I Fall. I really wanted to read it before the movie comes out. I'm pretty sure it's a movie. Yeah, I think it's a movie, not a TV show on Netflix that's coming out. And I've been wanting to read this book for quite a long time, actually a few years now, but I never really got around to it because I thought it was really sad, because this book is centered around a girl who commits suicide, and a few weeks after she has committed suicide, a boy named Clay receives a box full of tapes from her, and there's 13 tapes in this box, and each tape is centered around a person, and each person is one of the reasons why this girl committed suicide. And so it's really, really interesting, because not only is Clay such an amazing voice to have behind this story, he also has to go and listen to these tapes, knowing that at one point one of these tapes is going to contain his name, say his name, so that he is one of the reasons why she committed suicide. And this is a touching, heartfelt story. Like, it's not a light-hearted read at all. It really gets you thinking. It's kind of like that snowball effect. You start thinking what you've done in your life that could affect someone else later on in life, or same vice versa, what someone's done to you that has affected you in your life. And it really makes you think and be careful about what you say and what the actions that you take. So I really, really appreciated this book. But not only did Jay have a really entertaining story that wanted you to keep turning the page and keep reading and reading, he also really had an impacting story to tell. And it really, really was something that got you thinking when you're reading it, which I really appreciate when it comes to books. I love when books like have something that you want to think about. This book was really short, and it only took me like 3 hours or something to read because I loved it so much. I just couldn't put it down. So I definitely recommend this, especially if you're wanting to watch the Netflix movie or whatever it is. I'm really excited about that's coming out. After that, I picked up Everything and Everything, and this is the same as the past two books. I know that it's becoming a movie, so I wanted to pick it up. This was awesome. This is this is about a girl who has an illness that she can't go outside. So for the past few years, like years and years since she was a little girl, she hasn't been able to go outside, so her whole life is indoors, and the only people that surround her is her mum and her nurse. So it's kind of like it is her story, but it's also a story about the boy that moves next door, and how they both help each other see that there is more to life than what they are living at the moment. This was a really, really cute read, and it was also really inspiring, which is fantastic. I loved the characters. Couldn't find a fault in it. It was incredible, and I'm very, very excited about the movie because I love Nick Robinson and I think he's going to do a great job. And last but not least, I read Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven. This book I've been wanting to read since I read All the Bright Places and found out that she was writing another book. But it took me quite a while to get around to this book. I don't know why, I just never picked it up. But then I finally picked it up this month, and I do have to say that I had a very high expectation for this book because All the Bright Places is one of my favourite books. So I think I had a bit of too much of a high expectation for this book because it did let me down quite a bit. Jennifer Niven is a genius when it comes to words. She creates stories that are really real and relatable, and you just really want to keep reading and reading. But I will say that her two characters in this book were the fault of what I thought that made it not that great. It is about a girl named Libby, and she is apparently the fattest teenager in America. And so for the past few years, she's been kind of growing herself and losing weight and learning to love herself, and then she's going to high school. So that's where the story starts, is that she's about to start high school. or start to go to high school. She's been homeschooled for the past. And it also is about a boy named Jack who deals with, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's where he can't recognize faces, and it's really interesting. I don't really know how to explain it properly, but the book does such a wonderful job at explaining this, what he goes through. So I feel like Jennifer really had, the point was that she wanted to make two characters that were so different than you ever read in YA contemporaries, and she did. She made two characters that I haven't read about, and two characters in situations that I've never read about. But I think it was a bit too forceful. She really was trying to make that difference, and I think if she didn't try so hard, it would have come across much better. It just felt very fake for me, unfortunately, and I didn't relate to either of the characters' personalities. And also the relationship between the two I didn't love. I don't think there was any chemistry at all, and it wasn't a slow gradual build. It was kind of just straight into a relationship, and I didn't see the two characters. If I was in real life, I would never see them coming together. It was not natural, I don't think. So unfortunately, I didn't love it. I still really enjoyed it, and I still really think that people should read it, but it was definitely nowhere near what All the Bright Places was. So those are all the books that I've read in the month of March. I'm really happy with all the books that I've read. They're all fun and cute and lovely. And so in the month of April, I've only got a few books that I kind of am planning on reading, so I'll show them to you now. So the first book that I'm planning on reading, or finishing I should say, is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This is a reread for me, and I've been reading it for the month of March. I've started it already, so I'm halfway through. So I am hoping to get this done in April. After that, I would love to pick up The Impossible Vastness of Us by Samantha Young. This is a new book that is set to be released on the 27th of June, and it seems really interesting, so I'm hoping to get this read and I can review it for you guys. And lastly, I want to read Frog Kisser by Garth Nix. This book came in the YA Chronicles March box, and I was thrilled when I saw it because I saw it when it came in at work, and it just looks so much fun and so cute, so I'm really excited to get into this. So those are all the books that I've read in March and all the books that I plan on reading in April. Make sure that you comment down below what books you read in March and what was your favourite. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. See ya!